Hi everyone, welcome to Mandy Mandarin. And today we're going to. Actually, we're not going anywhere. Today I'm going to sit in front of my sofa and talk about the traveling tips. Once you're in China, you have to have WeChat. You can use WeChat to pay for everything. I mean, literally everything. You go into a shop, use your WeChat Pay. And you can use WeChat to order. You scan the QR code in the restaurants and order. And you can use WeChat to call a taxi, pay for the subway, the bus. And here is one thing that I think is really cool is WeChat can be a very good translator. There are many different language versions of WeChat. So how to use WeChat as a translator? Here is the new function I would like to introduce to you. You can take a picture of it, then send the pictures to yourself on WeChat. And then you long press the picture and choose Translate. Google, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they are banned in China. So you need a VPN to log in those softwares. And I strongly recommend you to install the VPN on your phone before you come to China. Because once you land in China, it's kind of complicated to download a good VPN on your phone. You can, but a lot of them, they're not stable and expensive. Google app is not available in China because Google is banned in China. So as a replacement, you can choose Baidu Map or Gaode Map. So this app is for you to book the ticket, like entrance ticket, high-speed train ticket, book a flight, book a hotel, etc. 你可以用大众点评或者小红书，他们可以帮你找到更好的选择。比如你不知道有什么好吃的，有什么好玩的，有什么好看的，他们可以帮你。These apps are really nice, but you need to make sure. 怎么立马？This app can help you a lot when you're in China, but remember, you have to have the Chinese SIM card to log in those apps. And you can buy those SIM cards when you are landed in China in the international airport. China is a very big country, so the climate in the north part of China and south part of China can be very different. So take Guangzhou and Beijing for example. Make sure which city you are going to and check the weather forecast before you go, so you won't wear the wrong clothes because you don't want to melt in the very hot Guangzhou in June. Wearing slippers is a huge thing in Guangdong because our summer is way too hot. So, a lot of Cantonese love to wear slippers. Like me, these are the slippers that I have. I have them in different style and different color to match different clothes. And it's very common to wear slippers to go to the bank or some fancy places. In general, most of the Chinese people in China can speak Mandarin and their dialect. For example, like Shanghai people, they can speak Mandarin plus Shanghai dialect. And me, as a Cantonese, I can speak Mandarin and Cantonese. Then what about English? So in general, most of the young people in China can understand and speak some English. In our generation, we have to study English in school. It's compulsory. But there are some very good English speaker and there are some very bad English speaker because English is not so popular in China, so we don't use it every day. But in general, in the big city, it's easier to find good English speaker. If it's your first time to come to China, I would like to recommend you to travel in the big city because it's easier for you to get help from English speaker. Unless you have a Chinese translator with you besides English, in the big city, you can find Spanish speaker, French speaker, Arabic speaker, and so many other different speakers. Because in the big city, there are a lot of people work in international trading, international finance, international blah blah. And don't be surprised when people want to help you so much. For example, you just ask for directions. They are not only telling you how to go there, but also they lead you there. But there's a Chinese idiom called 助人为乐. This kind of hospitality is like already in our nature. So when you ask for help, people would love to help you if they have time. If you can speak Chinese, people will be super, super happy about it. Because you can speak Chinese, which means you respect our culture and you study hard on this. Once they know you can speak Chinese, they will keep talking to you in Chinese. The top cities, they are Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. And these are the cities that you might heard a lot from the news. And among them, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, they are all very old cities where you can see very modern architecture and traditional architecture. But Shenzhen is a little bit different. Shenzhen is a very young city, around 45 years old. So most of the buildings over there, they're very modern. Of course, there are a lot more beautiful cities worth visiting, like Xi'an, Hangzhou, Chengdu, Nanjing, Suzhou, Chongqing, Wuhan, Qingdao, Foshan. It's a very long list. I can continue. So if you're interested in it, you can Google them or wait for me to go. I will make a video of it. Not all the Chinese food are spicy, and not all the Chinese people can eat spicy food. Cantonese, like me, I can't eat spicy food. If you invite me to eat this hot pot, my mouth will bleed and I will end up in hospital. There are different special food in different regions for you to discover. And yes, we do eat meat with bones, like we eat chicken feet, duck feet, duck head, chicken head, rabbit head, and so much more. And yes, we eat internal organs like this. In Guangdong, we love ox internal organs. It's like our special dish. In the big restaurants, it's easy to get chopsticks, spoon, fork, and knife. But in the street food shop, it's very common that they only offer you chopsticks and spoon. So if you don't know how to use chopsticks, so I have 2 pieces of advice for you. First is you bring your own forks with you, like you can have those portable fork. And secondly, you train yourself how to use chopsticks. You can start from these learner chopsticks and you can do some practice like this. We drink plain hot water. So if you go into a restaurant and they offer you hot water in the very, very hot summer, so don't be surprised. It's very common. So if you don't like hot water, you can ask them for some ice water. 我要冰水. I want ice water. It's easy to fly from one big city to another big city. But if you are going to a smaller city, usually there's no airport. So in this case, you will need to take the train. Let's say high-speed train. Personally, if I can choose the airplane or the high-speed train, I will definitely go for the high-speed train because it's very stable and it's fast and there's Wi-Fi on it and there's 5G signal on it, so you won't get disconnected when you're on your way, and you don't have to go to the station 2 hours before it sets off. You just need to go there 10 minutes before it sets off. And here is a map of the high-speed train railways. So actually you can take the high-speed train to quite a lot of places. If you want to drive in China, you have to have the Chinese driver license, which needs quite a lot of certificates to prove that you live in China for a certain time and a lot of other stuff. So it's not that easy. If you want the road trip, you better have a Chinese friend and let the Chinese friend be the driver. So just now we were talking about from city to cities. As you're in one city, usually there's bus, there's taxi, it's easy to get, and there's subway everywhere. And as for the public transportation, they're pretty cheap. Another piece of advice: try to avoid the rush hour, especially in the big city. So usually the rush hour is in the morning, it's 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. In the afternoon, it's 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. You don't want to go out in the rush hour. In some cities, you have to go through the security check to get into the metro station. There are a few things you're not allowed to bring into the station, like knife, fire lighter, or flammable liquor. Sometimes if you bring your water with you and you go through the security check, they are not sure what liquor it is. They will ask you to drink the water in front of them, or you put the water in a machine, so they will test it to make sure this is water, this is not flammable liquor. Then they will let you go. So please don't feel offended if they ask you to stop and check something in your bag, because they are doing their job to make sure everyone is safe in the station. Even though COVID is long gone, but you could see there are still quite a lot of people wearing masks on the street. There are a lot more reason behind it, like if it's flu season, they don't want to get the flu, or they're allergic to something in the air or from the trees, or they just didn't wear makeup. Yeah, that sounds like something that I would do. In our culture, wearing a mask is not something that we should be ashamed of. It's more like an act of protecting yourself or protecting others. For example, if you're sick, you don't want to pass your flu to other people. In our culture, we usually nod our head or smile to react to a stranger, and we shake hands sometimes. Hugging and kissing is what couples do. It's not what friends do. Of course, it's not all Chinese people can't accept hugging or kissing. What I'm trying to say is, in general, people prefer to nod their head, smile, and shake hands. We don't have tipping culture. Don't leave your money in the restaurants. If you leave your money on the table, the waiter and the waitress might be surprised and worried because they would think you've got your money there. They don't want to take your money because it's like an act of stealing, because they're not sure you leave it there on purpose or by accident. So if you want to say thank you to their service or appreciate their work, you can say to them with these words like 谢谢, 很好吃, 我很喜欢. In China, you are allowed to drink on the street as long as you don't make any trouble. As for smoking, you can smoke outside if you want to smoke inside, and usually there's a smoking area inside for you to smoke. Last but not least, if you have emergency in China, please remember this number, 110. This is the number of the police station. They can help you if you have emergency. Like they will help you to connect to hospital or help you to find people, etc. Okay, that's pretty much about today's video. If you have other questions, please leave your comment down below. I will try to answer as much as possible. If you're traveling to China this year or maybe next year, hopefully you will have a wonderful holiday. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.